The music stopped, and the room spun as Elena Martinez stumbled backward, her cousin's words slicing through the air like a blade. "You're embarrassing us, Elena. Go sit by the toilet where you belong." The Harvard ballroom, glittering with chandeliers and clinking glasses, blurred as shame burned her cheeks. She was 28, a mechanic from a small town, and tonight she dared to be herself only to be shunned for it. Elena clutched her glass of cheap wine, her emerald dress suddenly feeling too tight, too bold for a place like this. She'd come to Cambridge at her cousin Maria's insistence, a rare invite to a world of ivy and intellect she'd never known. Maria, a Harvard senior, had promised a night of celebration, a chance to mingle with scholars and elites at her graduation party. But when Elena mentioned her girlfriend back home, Maria's face had twisted, and the whispers started. Lesbian. Freak. Disgrace. Now Maria's friends pointed her toward the bathroom, snickering, as if her existence was a stain on their polished evening. She didn't belong here. That much was clear. Elena's boots echoed on the marble floor as she fled the ballroom, her heart pounding. She found the restroom, a sterile sanctuary of white tiles and cold mirrors, and sank onto a stool near the sinks, her reflection mocking her. "Why did I come?" she thought, wiping a tear before it could ruin her mascara. She'd spent her life fixing engines, not navigating social minefields. Back in her small New Mexico town, she'd learned to hide who she was, but tonight she'd let her guard down. And it had cost her. The door creaked open and Elena stiffened, expecting another cruel jab. Instead, a woman stepped inside, her presence commanding yet soft. "Dear." Sophia Reynolds, 35, was a vision of quiet strength, blonde hair in a neat bun, blue eyes sharp but kind, her navy blazer pristine against the fluorescent light. She paused, her gaze settling on Elena with a curiosity that felt like a lifeline. "Are you okay?" Sophia's voice was low, steady like a professor addressing a class, but there was warmth there, too. Elena's throat tightened. She wanted to lie, to say she was fine, but the weight of the night pressed too hard. "No," Elena admitted, her voice barely a whisper. I don't belong here." Sophia tilted her head, studying her. "No one belongs anywhere until they decide they do." She stepped closer, her heels clicking softly. "Mind if I sit?" Elena nodded, scooting over on the narrow bench. Sophia sat, her posture perfect but her expression open. "I'm Sophia," she said. "I teach literature here." "And you?" "Elena." "Just Elena." She hesitated, then added, "I'm Maria's cousin. From New Mexico. I fix cars for a living." Sophia's lips curved into a small smile. "Cars, huh? That's a kind of poetry, isn't it? Making broken things run again." Elena blinked, caught off guard. No one had ever called her work poetic. "I guess. But it's not exactly Harvard material." Sophia's laugh was soft, almost conspiratorial. "Harvard's overrated. Half the people here are just chasing their own egos. You seem real." The compliment landed like a spark in Elena's chest, warm and dangerous. She glanced at Sophia, noticing the way her eyes crinkled when she smiled, the way her hands rested calmly in her lap. For the first time that night, Elena felt seen, not judged, not mocked, just seen. But the sting of Maria's words lingered, and she couldn't shake the fear that this moment too would turn sour. "Why are you here?" Elena asked, her voice sharper than intended. "In the bathroom, I mean. You don't look like you're hiding." Sophia's smile faded, and for a moment her eyes darkened. "Maybe I am," she said quietly. "Not everyone out there is as open-minded as they pretend to be." Elena's breath caught. Was Sophia implying? No, she couldn't assume. Not here, not after everything. But the air between them shifted, charged with something unspoken. Sophia's gaze held hers, steady and searching, and Elena felt a pull she hadn't expected, a connection that both thrilled and terrified her. The door swung open again, and Maria's voice cut through the moment like glass. "Elena, are you still sulking in here? God, you're so dramatic." Her eyes flicked to Sophia, and she froze, her smirk vanishing. "Dr. Reynolds? Oh, too didn't know you were." Sophia stood, her expression cool but firm. "Maria, I suggest you rethink how you speak to your cousin. Respect isn't optional, even at a party." Maria stammered, her face paling, and Elena's heart raced. "Dr. Reynolds?" She hadn't realized Sophia was a professor, Someone with power in this world that had just humiliated her. Maria muttered an apology and fled, leaving Elena staring at Sophia, her mind reeling. "You didn't have to do that," Elena said, her voice shaky. "Yes, I did," Sophia replied, sitting back down. "No one deserves to be treated like that. Especially not someone like you." The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. Elena's pulse quickened, and she wondered if this was the start of something or the edge of a cliff. Either way, she wasn't sure she could turn back. The bathroom's fluorescent hum faded as Elena focused on Sophia's voice, a steady anchor in the storm of her emotions. She wanted to ask what Sophia meant by someone like you, but fear held her tongue. This was Harvard, a place where people like her small town, queer, unpolished, were invisible at best, despised at worst. Sophia leaned forward, her elbows resting on her knees, breaking the professor's poise for a moment of raw sincerity. "Tell me about New Mexico," she said. "What's it like where you're from?" Elena hesitated, then let out a small laugh. "It's dusty. Quiet. People mind their business mostly, but they don't always get me." She glanced at her calloused hands, evidence of years spent under car hoods. "I've got a girlfriend there, Jess. She's the reason I'm okay with who I am. But coming here to Maria's world, it's like I'm back in high school hiding again." Sophia's eyes softened, but there was a flicker of something else, recognition maybe. "Hiding's exhausting," she said. "I've done my share of it. Even here where everyone's supposed to be enlightened." Elena's heart skipped. "You mean?" She couldn't finish the question, but Sophia's nod was answer enough. The air thickened, the space between them shrinking as the truth settled in. Sophia was like her. A lesbian, navigating a world that wasn't always kind to women who loved women. "I came out in my 20s, Sophia said, her voice low. "Cost me my family's approval, some colleagues' respect. But it gave me myself. You remind me of that someone fighting to be whole." Elena swallowed hard, her throat tight with emotion. No one had ever spoken to her like this, as if her struggle was worth something. "I don't feel whole right now," she admitted. "Maria's my family and she made me feel like nothing." Sophia's hand twitched as if she wanted to reach out, but she held back. "Family can be cruel when they don't understand. But you're not nothing, Elena. You're brave. Braver than most of the people out there sipping overpriced champagne." The compliment warmed Elena, but doubt gnawed at her. "Brave? I'm sitting in a bathroom because I couldn't handle a few insults. And yet you're still here," Sophia countered. "You didn't run. That's strength." The door opened again, and a group of giggling women spilled in, their voices shattering the moment. Sophia stood, smoothing her blazer. "Come back to the party," she said, her tone firm but gentle. "Don't let them win." Elena wanted to protest, but Sophia's outstretched hand was impossible to refuse. She took it, her fingers brushing against Sophia's warm palm, and a jolt ran through her. It wasn't just gratitude, it was something deeper, something that scared her as much as it thrilled her. Back in the ballroom, the crowd felt less suffocating with Sophia nearby. Maria avoided her, but Elena caught the glares from her cousin's friends. She straightened, refusing to shrink. Sophia stayed close, introducing her to colleagues as Elena, a brilliant mechanic from New Mexico, her voice carrying a quiet pride that made Elena's chest ache. As the night wore on, they found a quiet corner near a window overlooking the Charles River. The city lights glittered, and Sophia's presence felt like a shield. They talked about books Elena hadn't read, cars Sophia didn't understand, and the small, shared moments of being outsiders in their own worlds. Elena laughed more than she had in months, her guard slipping with every smile Sophia drew from her. But the ease didn't last. A man approached, his suit crisp and his smile too wide. "Dr. Reynolds," he said, ignoring Elena. "The dean's looking for you. Something about your lecture series on queer literature. Big plans, I hear." Sophia's jaw tightened, and Elena caught the shift in her demeanor. "Thank you, Robert," she said coolly. "I'll find him later." The man lingered, his eyes flicking to Elena with thinly veiled disdain before he walked away. "Queer literature?" Elena asked, her voice soft. "That's bold." Sophia sighed, her shoulders slumping slightly. "It's a fight every day. Some of my colleagues think it's niche at best, inappropriate at worst. But it's who I am. I can't teach what I don't believe in. Elena nodded, her respect for Sophia deepening. She wanted to say something to tell Sophia how much this conversation meant to her. But before she could, Maria appeared, her face a mask of forced politeness. Elena, can we talk? Maria asked, her voice tight. Alone. Sophia glanced at Elena, her expression unreadable. I'll be nearby, she said, stepping away but not far. Elena braced herself, knowing this wasn't going to be an apology. Maria's eyes were cold. You're making a scene, Elena. Flirting with a professor? Do you know how that looks? You're embarrassing me in front of everyone. Elena's fists clenched. I'm not flirting. I'm existing. And if that embarrasses you, maybe you're the problem. Maria's mouth opened, then closed. For the first time she looked unsure. But before she could respond, a crash echoed across the room, a tray of glasses hitting the floor. All eyes turned, and Elena felt the weight of attention again. She glanced at Sophia, who was watching her, a silent question in her eyes. Are you okay? Elena wasn't sure. But she knew one thing: she wasn't going to let Maria, or anyone, make her feel small again. The shattered glass glittered on the ballroom floor, a stark reminder of how quickly things could break. Elena's heart raced as she stood her ground against Maria, her cousin's words still stinging. But Sophia's presence, a quiet strength just a few feet away, gave her the courage to hold her head high. Maria's face twisted, caught between anger and embarrassment. You don't get it, Elena, she hissed, keeping her voice low so the crowd wouldn't hear. This is my world. My future. You can't just waltz in and act like that. Like what? Elena shot back, her voice steadier than she felt. Like I'm human? Like I deserve to be here? Maria's eyes darted to the onlookers, her composure cracking. You're making this about you. It's always about you. She turned on her heel and stormed off, leaving Elena trembling with a mix of rage and relief. For the first time, she'd spoken her truth without backing down. Sophia stepped closer, her hand grazing Elena's elbow. You handled that well, she said softly. Better than I would have at your age. Elena managed a shaky smile. I don't feel like I handled it. I feel like I'm about to fall apart. Then let's get some air, Sophia suggested, nodding toward the terrace doors. This room's too stuffy for real conversations. Outside, the Cambridge night was cool, the Charles River reflecting the city's lights like a canvas of stars. Elena leaned against the stone balustrade, her breath steadying as Sophia stood beside her. The silence between them was comfortable, not heavy, and Elena felt a flicker of hope she hadn't dared to entertain before. You're not what I expected from a Harvard professor, Elena said, glancing at Sophia. You're real. Sophia chuckled, her breath visible in the chilly air. I wasn't always a professor. Grew up in a small town too in Ohio. My parents wanted me to marry a nice man, teach high school, stay quiet. Coming out meant losing them, but it also meant finding myself. Elena nodded, her chest tightening. Just me, girlfriend's the only one who's ever made me feel like I'm enough. But being here around Maria and her friends, it's like I'm back to being the kid who hid in her room because she didn't fit. Sophia's gaze softened, and this time she didn't hesitate. She placed a hand on Elena's, her touch warm and grounding. You fit, Elena. Maybe not in their world, but in the one that matters, the one you build for yourself. The words sank deep, stirring something in Elena she hadn't felt in years. Possibility. She looked at Sophia, her blue eyes catching the moonlight, and felt a pull stronger than anything she'd known. It wasn't just attraction, it was understanding. A shared language of resilience and defiance. But the moment broke as a voice called from the doorway. Dr. Reynolds. It was the man from earlier, Robert, his tone clipped. The dean's insisting on that meeting now. It's about your lecture series. Sophia's hand slipped from Elena's, and her expression hardened. I'll be there in a moment, she said, her voice cool. Robert lingered, his gaze lingering on Elena with suspicion before he retreated. He doesn't like me, Elena said, half joking. He doesn't like anyone who challenges the status quo, Sophia replied. My lecture series on queer literature has been a thorn in his side. He thinks it's divisive. Elena's eyes widened. But you're still doing it. Sophia's smile was fierce. Always. If I stop, they win. The terrace felt smaller now, the weight of the world pressing in. Elena wanted to stay in this bubble with Sophia, but the party and its judgments loomed. I should go, she said reluctantly. Maria's probably waiting to lecture me again. Don't let her dim you, Sophia said, her voice urgent. Promise me that. Elena nodded, her throat tight. I promise. Back inside, the party felt like a minefield. Maria was nowhere in sight, but her friends' whispers followed Elena like shadows. She kept her chin up, channeling Sophia's strength, but doubt crept in. What was she doing, letting herself feel this way about a woman she just met? Jess was waiting for her back home, steady and safe. Sophia was a dream, a spark that could burn everything down. As the night wound down, Elena found herself alone again, the crowd thinning. She was about to leave when Sophia appeared, her blazer slightly rumpled, her eyes tired but bright. I thought you'd left, Sophia said, a hint of relief in her voice. Almost, Elena admitted. But I wanted to say thank you. For tonight. For seeing me. Sophia's smile was soft, almost shy. You're not easy to miss, Elena. The words hung between them, charged with possibility. Elena's phone buzzed, a text from Jess, checking in. Guilt twisted in her gut, but she couldn't look away from Sophia. Not yet. Can I see you again? Sophia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Not here. Somewhere real. Elena's heart pounded. She knew she should say no, but the word wouldn't come. Yeah, she said instead. I'd like that. As they exchanged numbers, the ballroom's lights dimmed, signaling the end of the night. But for Elena, it felt like a beginning, one she wasn't sure she was ready for. But one she couldn't resist. The next morning, Elena woke in her cousin's cramped Cambridge apartment, the memory of Sophia's smile burning brighter than the sunlight streaming through the window. Her phone sat heavy in her hand, Sophia's number saved under S. She hadn't texted yet, but the urge was a live wire in her chest, sparking with every thought of last night. Maria was already gone, leaving a note. Back late. Don't touch my stuff. Elena sighed, the sting of her cousin's rejection still fresh. She thought of Jess, her girlfriend of 2 years, whose steady love had been her anchor. But Sophia was a storm, pulling her toward something new, something dangerous. She spent the day wandering Cambridge, the cobblestone streets and ivy-covered buildings, a stark contrast to her dusty New Mexico home. Every corner reminded her of Sophia's world, and by noon, she couldn't resist anymore. She texted, Hey, it's Elena. Coffee today? Sophia's reply was instant, yes. Meet me at the Beanery, 2 p.m. Elena's heart leapt, then sank. What was she doing? She loved Jess, but Sophia's pull was undeniable, a magnetism she couldn't ignore. The Beanery was a cozy cafe, its walls lined with books and the air thick with the scent of espresso. Sophia was already there, her blazer traded for a soft gray sweater, her blonde hair loose around her shoulders. She looked less like a professor and more like someone Elena could imagine sharing a life with. The thought terrified her. You came, Sophia said, her smile warm as she pushed a chair out for Elena. Didn't have anywhere else to be, Elena joked, sitting down. But her nerves betrayed her, her fingers fidgeting with the menu. They ordered coffee and talked about Elena's work, Sophia's teaching, the books they loved. Elena admitted she hadn't read much since high school, but Sophia's passion for stories was infectious. You'd like Audre Lorde, Sophia said, her eyes lighting up. Her words. They're like fire. They make you feel seen. Elena nodded, feeling that fire now, in the way Sophia looked at her. But guilt gnawed at her. She hadn't told Jess about last night about Sophia. She wasn't sure she could. As they left the cafe, the afternoon sun cast long shadows. Sophia paused on the sidewalk, her expression serious. Elena, I need to be honest. I like you. More than I should, maybe. But I don't want to push you into anything you're not ready for. Elena's breath caught. I like you too, she admitted, the words spilling out before she could stop them. But I have a girlfriend. Jess. She's good to me. Sophia's face didn't change, but her eyes softened with understanding. I get it. I've been there. If you need time, I'm not going anywhere. The honesty disarmed Elena, and she found herself reaching for Sophia's hand. Their fingers intertwined, and for a moment, The world was just them two women standing in the sunlight, unafraid. But the moment shattered when Elena's phone rang. It was Maria. "Where are you?" her cousin demanded. "We need to talk about last night. You can't just run off with some professor and think it's okay." Elena's stomach twisted. "I'm not running off," she said, her voice sharp. "I'm living my life." Maria scoffed. "You're making a mistake, Elena. People are talking. You're going to ruin everything." Elena hung up, her hands shaking. Sophia squeezed her hand gently. "You don't have to fight her alone," she said. "But you do have to decide what you want." That night, Elena sat on Maria's couch, staring at her phone. Jess had texted again, "A simple miss you." Elena's heart ached. She loved Jess, but Sophia had awakened something new, a hunger for a life where she didn't have to hide, where she could be whole. She typed a reply to Jess, then deleted it. She wasn't ready to choose. The next day, Sophia invited her to a lecture on queer poetry. Elena went, sitting in the back of the lecture hall, watching Sophia command the room with grace and fire. Students hung on her every word, but her eyes kept finding Elena's, a silent promise in their depths. Afterward, they walked through Harvard Yard, the autumn leaves crunching underfoot. "You were amazing," Elena said, her voice thick with awe. "I've never seen anyone so fearless." Sophia laughed, but it was tinged with sadness. "I'm not fearless. I'm just tired of pretending. You'll get there, Elena. I know you will." As they parted ways, Sophia's hand lingered on Elena's arm, and the touch burned. Elena knew she was standing at a crossroads, one path safe, familiar, the other wild and unknown. And she wasn't sure which scared her more. The weight of indecision pressed on Elena as she returned to Maria's apartment, the city's hum a distant echo to her racing thoughts. She'd spent 3 days with Sophia, coffee dates, long walks, stolen moments that felt like a dream she didn't deserve. But Jess's texts were piling up, each one a reminder of the life waiting for her in New Mexico. She couldn't keep running from the choice. That evening, Maria confronted her again, her voice sharp with frustration. "You're throwing everything away for some fling, Elena. Do you know what people are saying about you? About her?" Elena's temper flared. "I don't care what they say. I'm done hiding who I am to make you comfortable." Maria's eyes widened, but she didn't back down. "You're selfish. You think you can just do whatever you want and not hurt anyone." The words cut deep, and Elena fled to the fire escape, the cold metal grounding her. She called Jess, her heart pounding. "I need to tell you something," she said when Jess answered, her voice warm and familiar. "Elena? What's wrong?" Jess's concern was a knife in Elena's chest. "I met someone," Elena said, her voice breaking. "Her name's Sophia. She's like me. She sees me. But I love you, Jess. I don't know what to do." Jess was silent for a long moment, then said, "You deserve to be happy, Elena. If she makes you feel seen, maybe that's what you need. But you have to be honest with her, with me, with yourself." Tears streamed down Elena's face. Jess's grace was more than she'd expected, but it didn't make the choice easier. She hung up, promising to call again soon, and sat in the dark, the weight of her heart unbearable. The next day, Elena met Sophia at a park near the Charles River. The autumn leaves were a riot of red and gold, and Sophia looked radiant, her sweater soft against the crisp air. They walked in silence for a while, the tension between them palpable. "I told Jess about you," Elena said finally, her voice barely audible. "She didn't hate me for it." Sophia stopped, turning to face her. "That's because she loves you. And because you're worth loving." Elena's throat tightened. "I don't know if I can do this, Sophia. I don't know if I'm brave enough to start over." Sophia took her hands, her touch steady. "You don't have to start over. You just have to start. Wherever that leads, I'll be here." The words broke something in Elena, and she pulled Sophia close, their lips meeting in a kiss that was both fire and solace. It was a promise, a risk, a leap into the unknown. When they pulled apart, Elena was crying, but she was smiling too. She returned to New Mexico a week later, her heart still torn but clearer. She and Jess parted as friends, their love a foundation that would always hold her up. Sophia stayed in Cambridge, but they texted daily, planning visits, building something new. Elena enrolled in night classes, inspired by Sophia to learn more, to grow. She wasn't hiding anymore, not from herself, not from the world. Years later, Elena would look back on that Harvard party, on the bathroom where she'd felt so small, and see it as the moment her life began. She and Sophia built a life together, one of love and struggle, of teaching and fixing, of being whole. And every time she doubted herself, she remembered Sophia's words. You fit, Elena. In the world you build for yourself. The toilet seat, the shame, the whispers that led her to a love that was worth every fight, every tear. And in that, she found her meaning. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.